morning to one and all. So today we are going to be discussing about the good morning to one and all. Today we are going to be discussing in our eighth unit called it as an foreign sector. So fifth unit we have been discussed about the agriculture sector. Sixth unit we have been discussed about the industrial sector, and the seventh unit we have been discussed about the territory sector here. So every economy has been divided into mainly three sectors we have been discussed: agriculture sector, industrial sector, and the territory sector here. So now let us discuss about the foreign sector. That the next unit is called it as an what here? Foreign sector here. So let us know the introduction part of a foreign sector here. So that the international trade is going to be playing a pivotal role in the development of our economy here. Pivotal means what here? It is going to be playing a very key important role. Very key important role is going to be playing for the process of economic development here. For the process of economic development, our economic development, our country's economic development. So the foreign sector is going to be playing a pivotal role, means main key important role it is going to be playing here. So here mainly according to Robertson, according to Robertson, according to the Robertson, according to Robertson. So what is actually the foreign trade he had specified here? So foreign trade is nothing but an engine of growth here. An engine of growth. Foreign trade is nothing but foreign trade is an engine of growth. So foreign trade means what here? So according to Robertson, he had been specified of what here? Foreign trade is nothing but it is an engine of growth here. It is an engine of growth. So how it is going to be running? So how the engine is main important for the running of the trains or any vehicle. So here the foreign trade is also that much important for the economic growth here. For the economic growth here. So that's what they are calling foreign trade is an engine of growth here. Foreign trade is an engine of growth. We are calling it as an what here? Foreign trade is an engine of growth here. Foreign trade is an engine of growth. So it helps a country to utilize its natural resources. So how the country it is going to be helping here? It helps a country. The foreign trade is going to be helping the country to utilize its natural resources. Natural resources in the sense what here? So here that the free gift of nature. All the free goods from the nature here. So here that the natural resources and exports its surplus. It is going to be helping us exports. Utilizing of the natural resources, availability of natural resources of our country, and it is going to be allowing us to export the surplus of the production here. Exports the surplus of the production. So by utilizing of our natural resources, whatever the goods we are going to be producing in our country, whatever the goods we are going to be producing in our country, so the excess means so we must need to how much is required for our country. So more than that, if excess production is there, so the excess production can be, that is nothing but what we are calling surplus here. So excess of production, the required level is called as in what here? Surplus here. So the surplus production can be exported to the outside countries here. The surplus production can be exported to the outside countries here. So when we are going to be exporting, what we are going to be getting? We are going to be getting in the form of an income here. We are going to be gaining in the form of an income here. So here with that what will be happen? Automatically our national income is going to be increased. National income increase, the country's development is going to be increased or not here. So that's what we are going to be saying here. So foreign trade is going to be playing in that way important role in our country's economic development here. Country's economic development. So here moreover a country can import so when we are going to be exporting our goods to the other countries, so we are going to be having an opportunity to import the technical know-how, means the required things. The required things, the country can import of a technical know-how. Technical know-how means what here? Encyclopedia of information we can import here. The software. technological, from the advanced technological advanced countries, we can also import the technology from the advanced countries to our country here, so to develop, increase our development of our country. And here, time of natural calamity from the abroad here. So what we will be doing, the time of natural calamity means our natural resources will be providing for them in the form of an exports. So we are going to be importing the technical know-how, means that the required of a capital goods, technological things can be imported to our country here. So the foreign trade will be helping in that particular form here. So here a country can industrialize itself. A country can industrialize means what here, the industrial sector can be improved more here in our country. What we should have to do, importing the capital goods, machines, and raw materials from the already advanced countries. Advanced in the sense what here, already developed countries, fast forward. So ours is a developing country, our India is one of the developing country. So when we are going to be comparing our country with the already developed countries, they are very far, technological developed here. So from those particular countries we can import of the capital goods and also the machines, and the raw materials also, the required raw material also we are going to be, as in the form of a raw material, we are going to be importing to our country from the advanced industrialized nations, means already developed countries in there. So we can know very well that the already advanced, developed, more developed countries are, most is their industrial sector has been developed as a very lot here. So that's what we are saying here, that the most industrialized nations, we are going to be importing of the capital goods, machines, and the raw materials here. The required raw materials is going to be importing by our country here for the development of our country's sake here. So here again, it enables a country to require acquiring or the acquiring, means it is going to be taking over the necessary assistance and other equipment for the economic development here. Necessary things which are going to be acquiring, means importing from the other countries for the development of our country here, for the sake of development of our country. So from the abroad we are going to be importing here. So in that way, the foreign trade is going to be existing between the both the countries, from our country to the other developed countries here, developed and undeveloped countries. So only due to the reason of what is the main reason for behind doing of this particular foreign trade here. So that is the main reason behind this is that so planning commission gave the importance, great importance. The planning commission has been given a great importance to the development of foreign trade in the 5-year plans here. So development of foreign trade in the 5-year plans, they have been given the much importance here. So due to that, we are going to be giving the most priority for the foreign trade sector here. Most priority we are going to be giving for the foreign trade sector for the our economic development here. So here that the insight of this backdrop, this unit deals with the significance of foreign trade, why we are going to be requiring of a foreign trader. Foreign sector we are going to be required in the process of the economic development of our country here. So as in like India, developing countries like our India. So we had a most number of countries which are there in the development process now. So not only of India, that the other developing countries also needed of a foreign trade. They are going to be showing the what is the significance of this particular foreign trade here. So let us know the next topic. So this is the introduction of a foreign trade here. So let us know balance of trade versus balance of payments here. Balance of trade versus balance of payments. Balance of trade versus the balance of payments here. So let us know the next topic is what here, balance of trade versus balance of payments here. Trading is nothing but what we are doing, we are going to be doing the business, that is nothing but exports, imports we are going to be doing here. Payments, for that we have to make the payment or not here, so that is nothing but what here, balance of payments here. So generally speaking here, so let us know what is actually the BO. So balance of trade versus balance of payment. So in short, balance of trade, in short what we are calling BOT. So balance of trade is also known as what here, BOT. balance of trade, balance of trade. In short form, what we are calling BOT. BOT, balance of trade. BOT is nothing but what here? Balance of trade. Balance of payment in the sense what here? In short, we are calling BOP, balance of payments. Balance of payments. BOP. Balance of trade is nothing but what here? BOT. Balance of payment is nothing but what here? BOP. Shortly we are going to be calling here. So let us know what is actually the balance of trade here. Let us know what is actually the balance of trade here. So balance of trade takes into account, balance of trade is going to be takes into account only those transactions, arising out of expenses, exports and imports of the visible items. Exports and imports of the visible means what here? Which we can watch, the items which we can watch here, visible items. It does not consider the exchange of invisible items. It does not consider, means it is not going to be included the exchange of the invisible means what here? Which we cannot see here. ఇన్విజిబుల్ అంటే మనకి కనిపించని వస్తువుల్ని దాంట్లోకి తీసుకోదు. కనిపించే వస్తువుల్ని మాత్రమే మనం ఏవైతే ఇంపోర్ట్ చేస్తున్నామో, ఎక్స్పోర్ట్ చేయడం కానీ ఇంపోర్ట్ చేసుకోవడం కానీ. సో ఎక్స్పోర్ట్స్ అంటే ఏంటి? ఎగుమతి చేయడం. ఇంపోర్ట్స్ అంటే ఏంటి? దిగుమతి చేసుకోవడం. అంటే వేరే దేశాల నుంచి మన దేశానికి దిగుమతి చేసుకునే వాటిని ఏమంటున్నాం? ఇంపోర్ట్స్ అంటున్నాం. మన దేశంలో ఉన్న వస్తువుల్ని వేరే దేశాలకి, అవసరమైన దేశాలకి మనం ఎగుమతి చేయడాన్ని ఏమంటున్నాం? అక్కడ ఎక్స్పోర్ట్స్ అని అంటున్నాం. When we are going to be exporting the goods, exporting the required goods for the other countries is called it as an exports here. So we are going to be importing, means here we are going to be importing the goods from the other country, the goods which we are required here. మనకు అవసరమైన వస్తువులు మనం ఎప్పుడైతే మనకి అంటే కనిపించే వస్తువులు, కనిపించండి కాదు, కనిపించే ఎక్స్పోర్ట్స్ ఇంపోర్ట్స్ మాత్రమే, కనిపించే వస్తువుల్ని ఎగుమతి చేయడం దిగుమతి చేయడం మాత్రమే మనం బ్యాలెన్స్ ఆఫ్ ట్రేడ్ కిందకి తీసుకుంటాం. కనిపించని వస్తువుల్ని తీసుకోము. అర్థమవుతుందా? కనిపించని వస్తువుల్ని మనము తీసుకోము బ్యాలెన్స్ ఆఫ్ ట్రేడ్ అంటే. అర్థమవుతుందా? So have you understood now? So balance of trade in the sense what we are calling, so the goods which are invisible, the goods which are the transactions arising, the transactions which are going to be arising in the form of an exports and the imports, the transactions which are going to be arising in the form of an exports and imports of the visible items కనిపించే ఐటమ్స్ మాత్రమే, కనిపించని ఐటమ్స్ ని కన్సిడర్ చేయదు. So visible items only it will be taking into consideration. It is not going to be considering as a invisible items here. It is not going to be considering as a invisible items, such as the services rendered for by shipping, insurance, banking. Invisible items such as what we can take here, that is invisible items. అంటే కంటికి కనిపించని ఏంటి? సర్వీసెస్ కంటికి కనిపించవు కదా, అవునా కదా? సో ఇన్విజిబుల్ ఐటమ్స్ సచ్ యాజ్ ద సర్వీసెస్ రెండర్డ్ బై షిప్పింగ్, ఇన్సూరెన్స్, banking, payment of interest and dividends, and expenditure by the tourists here. So therefore this balance of trade is nothing but the difference between the value of goods exported and imported here. So balance of trade is nothing but what here? Difference between the so what we are calling here, actually balance of trade is nothing but what here? In general, so simply we can call it as and what here? Balance of trade is nothing but the difference between the expenditure, difference between the value of goods exported and imported. Difference between the value of goods exported and imported. Exported and imported is called it as and what here? Balance of trade here. So balance of trade in the sense what we are going to be calling here, so it is going to be considering, balance of trade is going to be considering only the visible items, so the transactions which are going to be arising, out of the exports and imports. So the transactions which are arising out of the exports and imports of the visible items, it is not considering the invisible items here. It is not considering the invisible items. So what can be taken as invisible items here? So here the services rendered by the shipping, banking, insurance, payment of interest and dividends, and expenditure by the tourists. So these all will be coming of what here? Invisible expenditure here. Invisible expenditure. Those are not considering of the balance of trade. Only the visible items, the transactions arising of the only visible items can be taken into consideration by the balance of trade here. So such that what we can say here, so balance of trade is generally we can say, simply we can say it as a difference between the value of goods exported and imported here. Difference between the value of goods exported and imported. How much exports we are going to be making, how much imports we have been made here. So what type of means the goods which we have been exported, how much means how much amount of the goods we have been exported to other country, how much amount of the goods we have been imported here. So the difference between these two, suppose $1 lakh of the goods you have been exported, $80,000 of the goods you have been imported. So what is the difference between these two here? The 20,000. 20,000 is nothing but what here? Balance of trade here. Balance of trade here. Have you got it understood? So $1 lakh goods, $1 lakh of goods you have been exported to other country. So 80,000 goods worth you have been imported to our country. So here what is the difference between these exports and imports here? 1 lakh has exported, 1 lakh exports you have been made. Exports $1 lakh, 1 lakh you have been exported. So imports means what here? You are importing to your country. అంటే వేరే దేశాల నుంచి మన దేశానికి దిగుమతి చేసుకుంటున్నాం మనకు అవసరమైన వస్తువులు. మన దగ్గర ఉన్న ఎక్సెస్ గూడ్స్ ని ఏం చేస్తాం? వేరే కంట్రీస్ కి ఎక్స్పోర్ట్ చేస్తున్నాం. $1 lakh of worth goods you are exporting, $80,000 worth, $80,000 worth of rupees you are going to be importing. So what is the difference between these two here? $20,000 of 20,000. So this 20,000 is nothing but what here? Here balance of trade here. This 20,000 worth of the goods is called it as in what here? Balance of trade. This 20,000 worth of the goods is called it as in what here? Balance of trade here. Have you got it understood now? What is actually the balance of trade? Yeah. So here balance of trade here. So the difference between the difference between the value of goods exported and imported is called it as in what here? Balance of trade here. Balance of trade. So therefore the balance of trade is nothing but the difference between the value of goods exported and imported is called it as a balance of trade here. So a crucial point to note that both goods and services are counted for exported and imports here. As a result of which a nation has balance of trade of goods, also known as mercantile trade balance here. Mercantile, the trade balance here. So what they are going to be doing here? That the mainly what we are going to be doing here. So not only a crucial point what we should have to keep it in our mind here. Crucial in what here? Very important point. What we should have to keep it in our minds here. So that is nothing but what we have to keep it in our minds means the both goods and services. Goods and also the services are counted for exports. Exports can చేస్తున్నాము. So what invisible the visible items we said here. Visible items. So the services are included under the invisible items, no? The services are included under the invisible items. But for the sake of exported point of view, they are considering both goods and services are considered for the means what here? Export purpose they are including of both here. Goods also they are going to be taking into consideration and also the services also they are going to be taking into consideration here. So that's what a crucial point we must need to keep it in our mind is what here. So balance of trade, that the goods and services are counted for exports and imports. Exports and also the imports we are considering both the things, goods and also the services we are going to be considering here. So as a result which the nation has balance of trade here. So now the nation will be counted as nation means what here our country will be treated in the form of and balance of trade here. So trade of goods also known as imports and imports. As a result of that the trade of goods here also known as the mercantile trade balance. Goods ne తీసుకుంటే ఏంటి? Mercantile trade balance అని అంటున్నాం. So here that the balance of trade for services in equation form balance of payments here. So services కి ఏమంటున్నాము? Balance of payments. సర్వీసెస్ ని కన్సిడర్ చేసేదేమో బ్యాలెన్స్ ఆఫ్ పేమెంట్స్, గూడ్స్ ని కన్సిడర్ చేసేదేమో బ్యాలెన్స్ ఆఫ్ ట్రేడ్ అంటున్నాం. సో సర్వీసెస్ ని కన్సిడర్ చేసేదేమో బ్యాలెన్స్ ఆఫ్ పేమెంట్స్ అని అంటున్నాం, గూడ్స్ ని మాత్రమే కన్సిడర్ చేసేది ఏమంటాం బ్యాలెన్స్ ఆఫ్ ట్రేడ్ అని అంటున్నాం. సో హియర్ దట్ the balance of payment here, BOP is balance of payment is equals to here I am BOP, balance of payment is equals to, balance of payment is equals to, that is Y is equals to, balance of payment is nothing but Y is equals to that the consumable goods, household goods, we had first year we have been learned. So consumable goods, investment goods, then capital goods plus exports minus imports, exports minus imports. So here cost of the consumable goods plus import, cost of the investment vendor. So government means government consideration, government expenditure which is going to be included, plus the exports minus imports we are going to be considering here, balance of payment nothing but. So here which includes the transactions which give to the exhaust national income, which are going to be providing us what here, exact exhaust national income is going to be providing here. So the expression in the above equation denote the balance here. So this particular equation is going to be providing of what here, that the mainly it is going to be denotes as the balance here. So how much balance is there between the exports and imports here, exports and imports here. So here if the difference between the exports and imports will become zero, if the difference between the exports and imports will become zero, exports and, so here suppose take that when it will become zero, if you are going to make the same $1 lakh, not only dollars, in rupees also you can calculate. I am saying for the foreign trade, no? So that's what I have been taking in the form of dollars here. So you can take zero. When it will become zero, exports is equivalent to imports, then it will become zero here. So here what will be 1 lakh worth of dollars of exports, 1 lakh worth of the dollars of imports it has been made. So then what is the balance here? It will become zero. The balance will become zero, isn't it? So balance will become zero now here. So here at that particular time what will be happen here? So the balance of trade is balanced here. So the balance of trade between the two countries, the balance of trade between the two countries, that is not only in our country or the other foreign country. So that is going to be, both are called as an balanced, zero అంటే ఈక్వల్ ఎక్స్పోర్ట్స్ ఈక్వల్ ఇంపోర్ట్స్ ఉంటే అక్కడ ఏమైపోతుంది, ట్రేడ్ అనేది జీరో. సో బ్యాలెన్స్ ఆఫ్ ట్రేడ్ విల్ బికమ్ జీరో, isn't it? When it will become zero, balance of trade is going to be arising here. So if exports is greater than imports, exports is greater than the imports. So now it is 80,000. Exports is 1 lakh, imports is 80,000. Imports is 80,000. Exports is greater than the imports. మనం దిగుమతి చేసుకున్న వాల్యూ కంటే మనం ఎగుమతి చేసిన వాల్యూ ఎక్కువ ఉంది. So what we have been exported more than that which we have been imported. Suppose 80,000 goods we have been imported, but we have been exported to other country 1 lakh rupees. 1 lakh worth of the goods we have been exported here. So then what it is called? So the exports is greater than the imports here. The exports is greater than the imports. So the balance of trade is favorable here. The balance of trade is called it as a what here? Favorable. This is called it as a what here? Favorable. Favorable balance here. So here favorable means what here? We are going to be getting the more income. Imports is lesser. అంటే మనం తక్కువ దిగుమతి చేసుకుంటున్నాము, ఎక్కువ వస్తువుని వాళ్ళకి ఎగుమతి చేస్తున్నాం. అంటే వాళ్ళ ఇన్కమ్ని మనలోకి మారిస్తే ఏమవుతుంది, మనకి ఎక్కువ ఇన్కమ్ వస్తున్నట్టు. సో దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ ఇట్ యాజ్ అండ్ వాట్ హియర్ ఫేవరబుల్. ఇట్ ఈస్ జీరో, ఇట్ ఈస్ గోయింగ్ టు బి బ్యాలెన్స్. ఇట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ ఇట్ యాజ్ అండ్ బ్యాలెన్స్ ఆఫ్ ట్రేడ్ హియర్. బోత్ ఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు బ్యాలెన్స్. ఈక్వల్ ఉంటే బ్యాలెన్స్ అయిపోయింది అని అంటాం, అవునా? సో మనం ఎక్స్పోర్ట్ చేసేవి ఎక్కువ ఉన్నాయి, మనం ఇంపోర్ట్ చేసేవి తక్కువ ఉన్నాయి. అప్పుడు ఏంటి, ఎక్స్పోర్ట్స్ ఆర్ గ్రేటర్ దాన్ ద ఇంపోర్ట్స్. సో సచ్ బ్యాలెన్స్ ఇస్ కాల్డ్ ఇట్ యాజ్ అండ్ వాట్ హియర్? ఫేవరబుల్ balance here. Favorable balance here. So favorable balance here. సో ఆర్ దర్ ఇస్ అ సర్ప్లస్ బ్యాలెన్స్ ఆఫ్ ట్రేడ్ హియర్. దాన్ని ఏమంటున్నాము, ఫేవరబుల్ కానీ సర్ప్లస్ బ్యాలెన్స్ ఆఫ్ ట్రేడ్ అని అంటున్నాము. సో ఫేవరబుల్ బ్యాలెన్స్ ఆఫ్ ట్రేడ్ ఇండిస్ ద గూడ్స్ ఎకనామిక్ కండిషన్ ఆఫ్ ద ఎకానమీ. సో వాట్ విల్ బి indicating the goods economic condition of the country. Economic condition is going to be increasing here. Favorable balance ఉంటే ఏమవుతుంది, మన కంట్రీస్ ఎకనామిక్ గ్రోత్ అనేది ఇంక్రీజ్ అవుతుంది. సో ఆన్ ద అదర్ హ్యాండ్ ఇఫ్ ద ఎక్స్పోర్ట్స్ ఇస్ లెస్ దాన్ ద ఇంపోర్ట్స్, ఇఫ్ ద ఎక్స్పోర్ట్స్ ఇస్ లెస్ దాన్ ద ఇంపోర్ట్, మనం దిగుమతి చేసుకున్న దాని వాల్యూ కంటే ఎగుమతి చేసుకున్న వాల్యూ, మనం దిగుమతి చేసుకున్న వాల్యూ కంటే ఎగుమతి చేసిన వాల్యూ తక్కువ ఉండడము. So what we are exporting, what we are importing, more we are going to be importing, but less we are going to be exporting to the other countries here. More of the goods we are going to be importing, but less of the goods can be exporting to the other countries. So what will be happen here at that particular time? So the balance of trade is deficit here. Balance of trade is what here, less than the exports is less than the imports. మనం దిగుమతి చేసుకునే వాల్యూ ఎక్కువ ఉంది, ఎగుమతి చేసే వాల్యూ తక్కువ ఉంది. అంటే ఏంటి, ఇంపోర్ట్స్ వాల్యూ ఈస్ గ్రేటర్ దాన్ ద ఎక్స్పోర్ట్స్ వాల్యూ. ఎట్ దట్ టైమ్ వాట్ విల్ బి హ్యాపెన్ హియర్? సో ద బ్యాలెన్స్ ఆఫ్ ట్రేడ్ విల్ బికమ్ deficit, means unfavorable balance. Unfavorable balance of trade will be arising. Unfavorable balance of trade is going to be arising. The difference between the BOP, means balance of payment, and balance of trade are as follows here. So what are the differences are there between the balance of trade and the balance of payment here? Balance of trade or the balance of payment. Let us see now. Differences between the balance of trade and balance of payments. Differences between the balance of trade and balance of payments. Differences between the balance of trade and balance of payments here. So let us know what are the differences are there between the balance of trade and balance of payment here. So here, this is the balance of trade we are taking. This is our balance of payment. So balance of trade is nothing but what here? It is a narrow concept. Balance of trade is a narrow concept. It is a narrow concept. Balance of trade is a narrow concept. Narrow means what here? It is a small concept here. So, but balance of payment is what here? It is a broad and comprehensive concept. It is a broad and it is a broad in the sense what here? Large. Broad in the sense what here? Large. Okay, it is a broad and comprehensive concept. Broad and comprehensive concept here. So balance of payment is what here? It is a broad, it is a very large and comprehensive, means hectic concept here. So then the second one, what is the difference between the second one? So it includes only visible items. So balance of trade include of what here? It is includes only visible items. Visible means what here? Which we can see here. Which we can see. మనకి ఏవైతే కంటికి కనిపిస్తున్నాయో వాటిని మాత్రమే కన్సిడర్ చేస్తుంది. సో హియర్ ఇట్ ఇంక్లూడ్స్ ఓన్లీ విజిబుల్ ఐటమ్స్. It includes only visible items. It includes only visible items. Balance of trade includes only visible items. కంటికి కనిపించే మాత్రమే కన్సిడర్ చేస్తుంది. But here balance of payments, it includes the transactions related to the visible, invisible and capital transfer here. So it includes visible and invisible. Visible transactions related to visible, invisible and capital transfer. It includes it is going to be, means balance of payments includes of all transactions. All transactions, visible, invisible, కంటికి కనిపించేవి, కనిపించవి. కంటికి కనిపించేవి రెండు కూడా తీసుకుంటాం. కంటికి కనిపించేవి, it includes the goods and also the services, but it includes only the goods. It includes only the goods, but it includes of what here? Balance of payments. It is includes the goods and also the services and also the capital transfer. And the capital transfer also going to be included in this. Capital transfer. also included under the balance of payments, also included under the balance of payments. So here it can be favorable or unfavorable. Balance of trade is either in the form of an favorable or in the form of an unfavorable. Favorable, favorable or unfavorable. So maybe balance of trade, maybe sometimes it may be in the form of an favorable condition, sometimes it may be in the form of an unfavorable condition we are going to be getting. But in the form of an balance of payments, here it is always balance itself here. So balance, it always balances itself. అంటే ఏంటి, రెండు ఈక్వల్ చేస్తుంది, ఆల్వేస్ ఈక్వల్ గా చేస్తుంది. ఇట్ ఆల్వేస్ balance itself, balance itself. It always balancing itself here, both the balance of trade and balance of payments, means goods and services both are going to be equalizing here. And here that the balance of trade is nothing but net earnings of exports minus net payments of the imports. Balance of trade is nothing but balance of trade is equivalent to, balance of trade is nothing but what here, net earnings of exports minus net payments of imports. Net earnings of, net earnings of exports minus net net payments of imports, net payments of imports. ఎంత ఎక్స్పోర్ట్స్ వాల్యూ మనకి ఎంత వచ్చింది మైనస్ ఇంపోర్ట్స్ వాల్యూ మనం ఎంత పేమెంట్ చేస్తున్నాం. So the difference between these two is nothing but what here, balance of trade here. So what is actually the balance of payment here? So current account plus capital account or balancing items, errors and omissions. Errors and omission will be considered under the balance of payments here. So these are the different number of differences between the balance of trade and also the balance of payments. These are the different number of differences between the balance of trade and the balance of payment. I think so you people have clearly understood what is actually the balance of trade and what is actually the balance of payment.